method of business would persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades, while the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux. To this day, the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes, way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can hit the street lights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never care for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, it's This Week in Professional Wrestling with your host, Monty and Faro. Jimmy, another great week in professional wrestling. I want to just read some numbers to you.
Hit it.
Yes, Wednesday night's AEW Fighter. What is it, Fighter Fest? What do they call that shit?
How would Sylvester pronounce it? Fighter Fest.
Fighter Fest.
Play.
Program received 942,000 viewers. So
Okay.
still struggling.
Yeah, that's all right.
To,
They're in the 9s.
look, they got their initial audience. And you know, it's funny,
Right.
you walked in when you just came into studio a little while ago.
Okay.
I was on the phone with Captain's Corner, right? He's an agent with
Yeah.
wrestlers and stuff like that. And he loves the show, and he was talking
Oh.
about basically
Thank
saying, you guys are so pro WWE, and I know you guys aren't into the AEW thing. I said, that's not fair. We're okay with it. But he said to me, the fans that spend money with him and with a lot of these people doing their virtual signings and things like that, because what we were speaking about is wardrobe. One of the agents paid him $13,000 for a 3-hour virtual signing. Wardlow.
Wow.
And the guy pulled a pretty decent profit.
And he turned a profit.
So
Damn.
Captain was explaining to me, he's like, dude.
Credit for taking the risk? Dude.
I would never have done it.
That's what I don't think I would either.
No way.
And he pulled it off.
Well,
how?
He was telling me, he said, Mike, name a mid-level WWE guy, like a mid-card.
Dolph Ziggler.
No, I did too. He goes, not fair. He's been around too long there.
Finn Balor.
I said the same thing. He goes, no, not fair. Been around.
Not fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Ezekiel. Elias.
Fair enough, Elias.
Okay.
I said Ricochet.
Okay.
He said he would rather have a mid-card AEW guy than
A mid-card.
Ricochet.
Interesting.
And he said...
Is that because of the extra love of the independent fan? When they love their wrestlers, they seem to love them a little, as far as going to conventions and stuff? I don't know.
The audience.
Trying to figure it out.
Obviously, WWE is a much big... It's like the Yankees. I
Right,
get it.
sure.
But he says when it comes to spending, the audience of AEW are single guys with
I see that.
accessible cash.
Yeah, right.
And-
In their 20s.
and
That, when is
20s,
cash
30s.
more accessible than in your 20s?
There you go.
Boy, did I waste a ton.
So-
Yeah, that makes
as I'm
sense.
speaking to him, because it's a pretty smart conversation, I thought. I said maybe the key demographic does mean something. Then we always foo-foo the key
In certain
demographic.
ways.
Yeah.
In certain ways, not in absolute positives, but in certain ways. Yes.
All right. All right, let's get to Wednesday night. I got to tell you, I think I called you and I said, too bad you're at work. I'm excited. I was actually interested in what AEW is doing when they had Wardlow go up against Orange Cassidy. I kind of brought me back to remember Saturday night's main event where out of nowhere Macho Man was wrestling Jake the Snake.
Okay.
This is fave against favor or face against face.
Right.
Macho Man, Jake Snake, heel against heel. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That's an interesting parallel. Okay.
So I was really
did it disappoint or did it uplift you as a wrestling fan? Because I think they actually did a good job.
It wasn't bad.
I even like the end. How about the respectful acknowledgement at the end? Not bad at all. You know what they did, and I thought it was very interesting. As much as we love to make fun of Orange Cassidy, I'm going to give AEW credit. They protected one of their own. They did protect Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy should have been embarrassed. Let's face it. We should have ding, ding, crush, 1, 2, 3. It wasn't that, was it? Orange got to do his little funny things. The fans popped like crazy for him. And after he ultimately loses, like he should, to Wardlow, Wardlow gives him respect. Wardlow didn't lose anything in this either, did he?
Aren't you afraid that Orange
Isn't that
Cassidy
weird?
is falling into the...
But he's a niche guy.
He's falling into
He already was from day one.
To the big guy, the big player.
It's about time this started making sense.
Wow, look at you. You're right.
Don't you think?
You're right.
Good job, though. Good job.
Chris Jericho mocked Eddie Kingston.
What did your mailman do now?
Chris Jericho delivered yet another masterpiece of promo as he spent every minute on his promo tearing Eddie Kingston apart.
Your mailman? Okay.
I got to be honest with you. I know this. People are trying to defend Eddie Kingston at this point because I guess people are making fun of his body shape.
Are they?
Body shaming him.
I'm not going to get into that. Okay.
I think
that's not
honestly. I think Eddie Kingston's exactly where he belongs. The interesting fact is,
I think he deserves credit to get
Jericho,
where he has gotten.
You've been right about Chris Jericho for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
He called himself a living legend during
he is.
this. He is.
He is.
Living legend.
Jericho's one of the greatest ever.
And this is
ever.
Hey, look. This is the guy who made AEW. Without him, it would never have happened.
Completely agree. He is more important than Kenny Omega.
Oh.
He is more important than the Young Bucks. He is. He was the face that reached out to a broader audience to give them a shot in the first place. So he's the man.
He's making these
He's the man.
in the Jericho Appreciation Society actually
be cool.
Be cool.
They're cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like, did we really ever give Sammy Guevara? I know he's not current, but I mean, did we ever give Sammy Guevara a second thought until?
Never.
This guy's pretty good. Okay. Jericho got him over. How many people does he get over? Basically, anyone who comes across his way.
A lot.
He's a generous dude, isn't he?
He is.
He really is. What a legend.
He gets it.
Yeah.
But you know,
he is. He's a legend.
You saw that coming with the whole China thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did whatever he needed to do.
He did a great job with China. He legitimized China.
He did.
I mean,
absolutely.
Great job. Great job.
Moxley defeated Takeshita.
Okay, I mean, this is a good.
Are falling their way to Tony Khan and his mighty dollar.
Yeah, but it's interesting though. Takeshita to me is not. I'm like, when Jon Moxley beats Okada in a cold day in hell, then I'll say, okay, now the Japanese legends are falling, because Okada and Tanahashi and Nakamura, guys like that, those are in the last 15, 20 years, those are the legends. Now, if Moxley fought a guy named Shibata, which someday I'll play you some matches of his, you'd love this guy. What a skull crusher. He's like Cesaro with a good look. Sorry, Cesaro.
Experts, though, we're upset over Nakamura. And they're like, Takeshita's getting manhandled and beaten.
Right. Now, Takeshita's working on being a legend, too, to be fair to Takeshita. I mean, he's like,
How can you become a legend when you just start losing?
Yeah, losing to Jon Moxley, I don't know. I don't know where they plan on doing it, what they plan on doing. Notice, once again, though, Japan's not going to give up. Okay, you could beat Okada. Kiss my Japanese rear. Right. You know what I mean? So they're not losing anything in any of this. If anything, Moxley just beats another dude.
It doesn't really matter.
I don't think it will matter in Takeshita's career. He's going to go back to Japan and probably be effing amazing.
That doesn't...
Dude, you remember what happened with the guy from NXT? Hideo Itami?
Yeah.
Well, you know that he went back and just went back to being who he really is. He's like a main event player and has been for the last few years. He went home. You know, he's from a major, background before he came here. So
But it's
he just returned to be the star he's supposed to be.
It's interesting though, because wrestling is becoming a little more regionalized now, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Jericho, I saw him on a podcast. He actually said a very good statement. He said it was time for another organization. It was time.
Yeah.
It couldn't be monopolized for so long.
Right.
And now you see these other organizations branching. Obviously, the show covers a lot of different organizations.
Sure.
Okay,
Right.
and they're doing their best. But it goes back to, you talk about old school, like Piper would never lose.
Right.
Does a guy like Takeshita not have that kind of leverage? It's like, hey, look,
Of course
I'm
he
not doing the
doesn't.
job.
This is exposure for Takeshita. Do you think that we even knew
So he
it?
doesn't care.
I wouldn't. I would be like, absolutely,
Just
I would
give me
do
the
this.
exposure.
Absolutely. I mean, he's losing to a former world champion, current world. Whatever. Moxley's top of that card over there. So that's not a terrible thing at all.
You know what? You're
Not
100%
a
right.
terrible
Can't
thing at
argue
all.
with it
Yep.
Luchasaurus beat Griff Garrison.
Griff Garrison.
Beat up Pillman. Pillman looks like a guy that's just, I'm glad to be here.
He's got to drop that.
Mullet.
If he ever I'm just glad to be here. If you ever want to shoot, come on, dude, study tapes of your pop. He needs to do something much more interesting than just be part of the show.
Dude, I got to tell you, there's certain things.
And if you can't be like your pop, go home, play golf.
There's certain things that annoy me.
That's rough. I mean,
Luchasaurus put Garrison attempted to throw on the table on Pillman.
Right.
Table doesn't crack.
Whoops.
Then he tries it again, and it cracks. And then Pillman uses the old, like and I'm like, this is just, Pillman Junior doesn't have it, dude.
Oh, it's so
doesn't
he's
have it,
he's
bro.
either he's not being advised correctly or he hasn't been presented yet with any kind of seriousness because I can't.
With MJF, they even cut that.
But that
program
was
right out.
that was quick. That was here and gone.
Yeah, did they had a match?
That's what you see. What I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, they didn't do it. They haven't done shit with Brian Pillman Jr. And that's because they've got 20 pounds of poop in a 2-pound bag. AEW, but we knew that already. We know that already.
So what's going to happen? Are we going to have Jungle Boy angry and come after Christian and come after Luchasaurus?
You know what's really funny?
The joke about it is he can't do anything.
Here's
It's either one of those.
Here's the ironic thing. The only one that this whole thing has made me actually like and care about is your boy, Luchasaurus. He's the only intriguing factor in this. Christian Cage, I'm like, I've been watching you since I was 30, whatever. I'm like, no.
It's funny. A lot of
I
guys
don't know.
differ from us.
I
They
know.
don't agree.
Look, it's not like he's still not good and all this stuff. He just never did it for me that much anyway.
I agree.
Is there something wrong with that? I don't think so. And quit comparing him to Edge. Get out of here.
Hard to argue.
Yeah,
the point.
please.
So
I don't know.
Claudio defeats Jake Hager.
Claudio.
Yeah. Cesaro.
Oh, I almost didn't recognize him when you said that. Were you afraid to say Claudio Casserole, his last name?
Again, another guy. It's like I was
He
looking
defeated
at
who?
The guy.
We the People?
We the People.
Okay, just want to
We
make
the
sure.
People no longer taking We the Juice.
Right. Ooh. How's he looking?
He looks good.
String beanie?
String beanie.
Oh, no, but he's so big, though. What happened?
It's funny when you watch Cesaro. I'm not going to call him Claudio. Cesaro. Cesaro is in great
Oh,
shape.
man, he really
And
is.
he's a big dude.
He really is. He's a very strong guy.
But already ruined for me because you know what?
He's
I didn't
not
like
going
him much in
anywhere.
WWE.
Yeah,
and I don't
can't you see he's not going to go anywhere, though?
I don't know about that Tony Khan hug. I'm not so sure.
Oh, he's going to be AW champion? You really think so?
I would be shocked.
I don't think so. I just think this is another chance to hug someone from WWE. And he hugged him. He hugged him, rosy-wosy,
I gotta
huggy-wuggy.
say it, they don't have a champion. Anybody in sights that can move the needle.
Just leave
for
the
that
belt either on
organization.
Chris Jericho or CM Punk or Daniel Bryan. There's your three.
Bryan's not moving the needle.
But I don't expect any of them to move the needle. But
Punk
I think
has
that
the most chances.
right. But even then, I think that at least they'll keep the needle where it is. Put it on Claudio Casserole. I'm telling you, we'll be down to the fives and sixes. It would be terrible.
Let's see. Serena D beat out of Jay.
Yeah.
Keith
Thank
Lee and Swerve defeated the Young Bucks and Hobbs and Starks. That shocked me a bit.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
not prepared for that.
I think that's cool. That's a nice little change, and Keith Lee actually gets your belt. Okay,
that must make you feel okay.
Not really. The guy blew it. He should be in the WWE.
Yeah, we
Managed
were
by
hearing-
Adam
was he
Cole.
having health- I was hearing he was having health
Yeah, I was
problems
hearing
again.
weird shit, but who knows? Who the hell knows what to believe with any of it? And honestly, though, Bringing Keith Lee in, and he's a tag team champion. Went with the guy Wait a minute. Have we forgotten the Keith Lee's pinnacle in his entire career? By the way, and people are going to go crazy when I say this, but I don't give a crap. The end result is that you do this to get to the top. You want to do this to get to the highest amount of stardom and exposure you can. Well, folks, here's his greatest moment in his career. That Royal Rumble where him and Lesnar will wind up staring at each other, and the fans will, like, give it to us. That's the closest you got, son. So, like, for him to go to AEW, I would think they'd realize the enormity of the man, the skill of the man, great wrestler. Oh, my God. The charisma, in my opinion, of the man. This is what you do with him? Again, 20 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag. Can't do right by anybody.
I never saw much charisma in him.
I did.
I'll give you the first 2 points.
I felt he did.
Okay.
He did it without talking, though. Understand that. It was mostly smiling and just, his in-ring mannerisms. I felt he had charisma. But, yeah, I don't see this as a great thing for his career longevity-wise. I won a tag belt. It's nice you got a belt.
Overall,
Anyway.
we're almost out of time. So
Yes, sir.
Overall, I would say this. AEW is becoming more, for me, intriguing.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
That's fine. They're always going to put on a clinic as far as physicality.
There's something, I don't know who's writing the storylines or writing TV for them.
It's haphazard.
That might be a show that needs to go to 3 hours. Because the problem is,
wow.
Where's MJF?
Can you hear them? The diehards are screaming.
MJF.
Yeah. Where is he?
It's like,
did they capitalize on that?
Great idea of trying to capitalize, make it as real as possible. Now I feel like you lost all your momentum.
You lost the momentum. I agree.
CM Punk, same thing. Hurt, kind of like lost your momentum. Daniel Bryan, you lost. Something have to do with injury.
Right.
But they seem not to keep, like when Stone Cold was hurt, they kept him on TV.
I think what you mean to say is that they seemed to be like a company that a long time ago took Bret Hart 1 week after the screw job and did nothing with him.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like. That company sounds similar to that other company from all those years ago. Uh-oh.
By the way,
see you in a couple of years when one of the McMahons is standing on AEW's ring going, "Hey, I just bought AEW!" And everybody's really mad.
Now that you brought up
Sorry.
Bret Hart, I want to say Sundays on AE is definitely much-watched TV with the biographies every week. Then they added in something called Rivalries, which they produced on the network a few times.
Okay.
So they opened up with The Undertaker. They opened up with Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. And then they do, I guess it's called Raw Talk or something. At 11 o'clock. So it's literally
bunch of
8 till midnight.
You'll be watching that, won't you?
Undertaker, as you know the whole story, but still great.
It doesn't matter. The guy's
Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. That story never gets old.
No, how could it?
They tell it the same story in 18 different ways, and it's always intriguing.
Yeah, how could it? I agree. It's like those juicy band battles, like then John and Paul cursed each other out and threw cigarettes at each other.
Just
never
never
get tired of it.
Never gets old.
Nope. That's on Sundays?
On Sundays, you got to watch it, dude.
Yeah, on my phone. Went.
All right, this has been Mike Monty.
This has been the Pharaoh. You've been watching This Week in Wrestling, and until next week in wrestling, later.
Watch Rampage. Watch SmackDown.
Yeah, those things. Peace.